Hello and welcome to Kusile Breakfast Show. It has just gone 6 o'clock. Thank you for joining us here on Eswatini TV. I am Sifiso Ngumalo, coming to you live from our Hospital Hill studio in Mbabane. Today, Southern African Customs Union and Eswatini Revenue Service at 6:30. We talk to Thabo Khasipe. He's the SAKU Executive Secretary, as well as the Eswatini Revenue Service General Commissioner, Mr. Brighton Nkambule. Why? They have an important engagement later today on the authorized economic operator, looking to impart knowledge about authorized economic operator program to local traders. We have some questions for the both of them, and you do not want to miss this discussion. Later, 7:30, we have LinkedIn Gule joining us to give us an update on a global topical issue, Donald Trump's indictment. He made his first public remarks yesterday and he appeared in court. What does all this mean? Does it hurt his run for presidency? We get answers from LinkedIn Gule on that and more when he joins us at 7:30. After LinkedIn Gule, we have Sonto Mlangeni. She's our in-house journalist. She joins us to give us a comprehensive reaction of the newly appointed Disability Council that was announced by the Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku on Wednesday. And after that, as we continue with the show, as per usual, we have local news, our international news, as well as give you a traffic update. Don't go anywhere. We'll take an ad break. When we return, we look at our local news.
Why should we pay our TV license?
The content on our local television is actually more up to date. The industry is enhanced.
It is a criminal offense not to pay your TV license and attracts a fine of 500 emalangeni or 6 months imprisonment.
And the industry is definitely blooming, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we have for you. But we'll be right back just after the break and we'll give you more of Missed Feed.
Pay my TV license. That's why I can enjoy the benefits of an enhanced industry and keep track with recent transformation.
Mommy, who pays for a TV license and what are they paying for?
The owners of TV set and gadget with a tuner like DVD set have to pay.
Pay your TV license at NetBank with the details provided on screen. Or use your cell phone via the mobile money pay. You could also visit your nearest post office and pay there. Pay your TV license via Eswatini Mobile Imali. Any TV device retailer can purchase a license to trade. Pay your TV license and enhance the industry.
Phela-ke imizuzu lemine solo luhlelo lucalile asingene nisabenta lapha ekhaya. Bantu labasha labange-21 besifundza saseshiselweni batfole kwesekeleka ngemishini yemisebenzi yetandla leyahlukene lebite imali lengo-1.5 million emalangeni ngaphansi kwelolu hlelo lolwatiwa ngekuthi yinsika yelikusasa lensha eSwatini lolwesekelwe live leTaiwan libambisene nahulumende wakuleli. Ikhuluma kulo msebenzi lebekathe ubanjelwe eholeni lemphathi wetemfundo yenhlangano imfuna itindzaba tebantu labasha Harris Bulunga isilitiko litimisele kwesekela abantu labasha.
Indvuna ithi litiko liconza kahle kwekuthi sekude kahle ematfuba yemisebenzi kungako uhulumende abambisene nele Taiwan kuthuthukisa imisebenzi yetandla ikakhulu kubantfu labasha.
We want to empower the youth to become not only key players in the country's economy, but also equip them with the relevant skills needed to become independent thinkers.
Lomele live le Taiwan kuleli Jeremy Liang uthi lela live litimisele kwesekela bantfu labasha kuleli.
I believe that the equipment will make a positive impact in the lives of these young people, and hope that it helps transform not only the participants' lives, but also even though of those community at large.
Dobeko Mathunjwa longulomunye lowesekelwe kulolu hlelo uthi weswele emagama yekutibongela kuhulumende wakuleli nelive le Taiwan.
Siyabonga mashayina namasha eTaiwan uthi asinike isitolo ngaka mahala awubisela imali abafuna utholo wakho nje sibasinike mahala. Siyabonga sami bangadingi futhi ngathi
Live le Taiwan lesekele lolu hlelo lwensika yelikusasa lensha yeSwatini imali leng-5.1 million emalangeni kanti bantfu labasha labatawutfola kwesekelwa ngaphansi kwalolu hlelo sebabonge bange-50. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelson Ngamandla kunambongwa Dube enhlangano.
Litiko letemabhizinisi nekutsengiselana kanye-ke nemlawuli wetinkampani netinhlangano letisebenta ngemali FSRA sekuceleke itimphunga saletingenelela endzabeni yemtselo lokhishwa tinhlangano tekonga nekwebolekiswa ku-FSRA. Litiko lifuna lo mtselo ube ngu-1% wenzuzo yetinhlangano kanti-ke FSRA ufuna kuchubeka itsatse ibalwe etikonetini taletinhlangano noma-ke kube ngu-2% wenzuzo. Lendzaba ivele ngesikhatsi itimphunga tibuka umtsetfo losakhankhanyo wetinhlangano tekonga nekwebolekisa ePhalamende ngalesithathu ekuseni.
Solokude kuvumelana emkhatsini welitiko letemabhizinisi nekutsengiselana kanye ne-Financial Services Regulatory Authority ngendzaba yemtselo lekufanele ubhadalwe tinhlangano tekonga nekwebolekisa.
I-option yekucala sihlalo lithi litiko lingajabula ukuthi vele lamalevisi angachajwa la kuletinhlangano telubanjiswano ngoba vele tiyakhala ngawo lamalevisi. Kulombhalo welitiko noma ke kuloko litiko lelavumelana ngokuthi uma ngabe indlu ibona ukuthi ngeke mhlambe regulator eluse mahala lathi ke litiko i-option yesibili kungamane kube kuthi ke lama levies achajwe kule surplus kube ngu-1% wale surplus.
Ayifika indlu ibuka lama options lamabili lapha sephepheni la ibuka le surplus imane ibe open-minded indlu, at least probably to consider a higher rate than the 1%. Ngoba itolo business is paying 2% of surplus. Yebo ebebuka letinye tintfo kepha bekufaka kona lokwelusa lama SAKUs beku 2% of surplus. Lo 1% vele sikhothe iminwe kusina ngabe indlu naseyifika lapho seyithatha lesinqumo kumane kuthi 1.5 noma kufike ku2 bekajabula nga5%.
Nendvuna yelitiko letemabhizinisi nekutsengiselana namanqoba khumalo seyizame yafika ekugcineni kuyisebenta lendzaba.
Uma utawukhanza ukuthi tinhlangano tabomakele ekhaya setenda lolubambiswano seti ukuthi salabo bozuka labancane babe 10,000 ngekuphela kweminyaka kufanele bahlephulelane batawubuyisela abantwana babo esikoleni bese sisitabafananisa nabo select. We're just asking for the new ones. Mhlambe ke sehlulene ke lokuvana lokuthi yini sicele i-exceptions ine sesithi ke mhlambe timbonga tingasisida vele.
Ngahlanganisa lombiko emalunga besekasele nelitiko adzingidza lendzaba baka FSRA sebacelwe ukuthi sebangakhululeka. Ndzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Themkosi Mavimbela ePhalamende.
Bantfwana besikolo semakhono enhlangano labangetulu kwe-60 sebatawukhona ke kuceceshwa kabanti njengoba live leTaiwan selibanikelele ngempahla labayitsingako basafundza. Lempahla ke ibita imali lelinganiselwa ku-1.7 million emalangeni. Etfula lempahla lomele live leTaiwan kuleli Jeremy Liang uthi emakhono sengiyona ndlela lefanele bantfu labasha bayikhuthalele kude ke batewukhona kwakha imali yekudiphilisa.
Lomele live le Taiwan kuleli Jeremy Liang uthi besekelele isikolwa ngobe bayabona kwekuthi bantfu labasha bawalambele ematfuba ekutiphilisa.
The young people is the backbone of the society, is the future of the society. There is a framework that between Eswatini and Taiwan, between the governments of our two countries. We work together. Every year we, through the bilateral consultation, and Taiwan will do whatever we could to help the government to realize their policies.
Indvuna yelitiko letisebenti nenhlalakahle yato Phila Buthelezi ibonga live leTaiwan ngalolu sito.
Nani bantu labasha njengoba kutalisito lolungaka. Ngiyajabula lokuthi nikhona la nifisile lokucecesheka. Nitawukhona niphume niyotiphilisa. Kuyinto lenhle. Ngete lonke liswati laphila ngekuthi licashwe kamlungu. Kufuna sitametaba ukuthi emakhono lesinawo siwasebenzise kuthuthukisa lelive.
Umphathi walesikolo wasemakhono Phinda Sihlongonyane uthi sebatawukhona kubafundzisa kahle bafundzi njengoba imishini bese bayisebenzisa beyingekho esimeni lesikahle. Edindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Nelisiwe Nhlanga kunambongwa Dube yenhlangano.
Indvuna yelitiko letemabhizinisi nekutsengiselana manqoba Khumalo ithi hulumende sewakhe umtsetfo losakhankhanywa lotawuhlomisa emaswati ngetemnotfo kanye ke nakutemabhizinisi lowatiwa nge-Citizens Economic Empowerment Bill. Indvuna beyikhuluma ngesikhatsi iyawubuka kusebenta kwenkampani leyakha imikhicito yetinsimbi yaSero Steel Company kumathapha ngalesithathu.
Babemdluli lenkampani yakho imbeleni itawuchubeka ngelizinga lisetulu kakhulu. Bangihlebele lapha ukuthi noma yaqala ngemali lencane nga-2017 na investor namake leyo lencane imali lebenayo lebengangabo 800,000 but nga-2022 lenkampani ikhonde ku-turn over 22 million emalangeni. Kune bill lesibekile eParliament kulamalanga lesifise ukuthi kuletinyanga letimbili letitako iphase kutoto timbili tindlu babe mdluli ibitwa nge-Citizens Economic Empowerment Bill. Yebo ke hulumende ukusitile lapha kusite khona njengoba kuvakala nje sibosebenza uhulumbe la kaSEDCO na ipa bekakusita kuregister amabhizinisi akho nako konke. Kepha ngikholelwa mina ukuthi kufanele kube ngama incentives langcono kunalawo laniketwa nje amabhizinisi amaswati. Kuthi ngoba uSwati sitakwephula lokho kuze kuthi bamphla basha ekakhulu mabacala ibhizinisi lemicabo yehle ingabi ngileminyenti kakhulu.
Umphathi walenkampani Thamsanqa Mdluli uthi bayafisa kwekuthi ikhule yakhe emathuba yemisebenzi lamaningi.
Sithi masifika la saqala safaka i-steel retail kusho ukuthi sesithengisa tinsimbi la ngekhathi. Phinze futhi sesiyathengisa sende i-hardware.
Umphathi wakaSEDCO Khethiwe Mhlanga uthi lokwende Mdluli waphumelela indlela ebetimisela ngayo nakasafundzela tebhizinisi ngaphansi kwalenkampani.
Nanyalo lokusekakhulile sekalana esomabhizinisi asimlahli singiSEDCO.
Njengoba lenkampani yakha emathuba yemisebenzi idlala inzima yayo kunciphisa lizinga lekungasebenzi kuleli ku-33.3% ngekusho kombiko we-Labour Force Survey yeminyaka wanga-2021 kanti kubantu labasha liku-58.2%. Edindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Nelisiwe Nhlanga kunaThembekos Mavimbela kumathapha.
Kutemidlalo badlali bakuleli lababili labayotama inhlanhla kumacembu lamabili a7 lase-Italy lokunguma ibongwe Mabuza kanye naye Khumalo bathi kulamalanga lamancane labalolongwe ngawe event lase-Italy kunyendi ke labakufundzile lokukhulisa izinga labo lekudlala. Labadlali lababili kubhekeke ukuthi babuye mhla ka-1 ngenyanga yeNkhwekhweti kulomnyaka losedulo.
Imithelela yekubamba imidlalo yeKhosafa yabadlali labangaphasi kweminyaka lengu-20 eminyakeni lophelile sewuyabonakala njengoba abadlali laba ingxenye lemidlalo bakuleli lababili baseveni laseTaliyane kuyotama inhlanhla. Mayibongwe Mabuza lodlala licembu leNsingizini Hotspurs kanye naye Khumalo bamenywa licembu leFiorentina kanye nelicembu leEmpoli kutotama inhlanhla ekudlaleleni lamacembu lamabili.
awusihambile saqala sajima idolo basifike basemukela kuleyo team besijima kiyo kude lokubi lesingakhala ngakho sijimile kahle technical part were good but by a bit slowly kunema-African but kunenge lesikufunzile in terms of ama-tactics abahlukile indlela lokujinywa ngayo ihlukile but kunenge lesikhathi kokufunza sisayenda ema-trials
ejimini sifunzile ukuthi technical bona ba-good but physically no bakhona la baleka khona safunza nema-movements ya kwaba khona ne-physical part lencane otherwise bekumo football.
Labadlali lababili labahambe nakuqala leliviki batawuze babuye kuleli mhlatilunye ngenyanga yenkwekweti kulomnyaka losetulu. Lobekile umsakathi Eswatini TV emidlalo ngilinda Dlamini eMbabane.
Ngaleyo ndzaba leyo ke siyadephetsa tindzaba tetfu futa lapha ekhaya talomuhla asibahlole emakethe siphathi ke sitawuthatha simo selitulu uma sibuya sihlala phasi na executive secretary wakaSAKU ngayinzawo.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Minutes after 6, welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Today, the Southern Africans Custom Union, SAKU, and Eswatini Revenue Service will jointly engage with the private sector on the authorized economic operator under the theme AEO accreditation, bringing real benefits to businesses in Eswatini. This will provide participants with the opportunity to learn about the AEO program and its benefits to the traders in order to enhance their business competitiveness for sustainable growth, as well as compliance with customs and tax law and partnership with the government. I'm joined in studio by Executive Secretary of SAKU, Mr. Thabo Khasipe. A very good morning. So wonderful to have you here on the show, Mr. Khasipe. How are you?
I'm all right, Siso. Thanks for having me.
Lovely.
For having me. Yeah.
It's the first time you're appearing on my show after assuming your role as SAKU's Executive Secretary in February 2023. Tell me about your experience so far.
Well, it's been, what's the word? It's been fascinating, really. Busy, for sure, because having coming in February, I've been spending a lot of time visiting the member states to basically, get known, to also know the players within the member states. I was here, as you may remember, earlier in February. Yeah, and glad to be here again. Basically now getting our hands dirty,
right.
In terms of now implementing the SAKU strategy, which includes what we shall be talking about today.
Yeah, speaking of implementing the SAKU strategy, talk to me about implementing the AEO program. Yeah.
The AEO program, the Accredited Economic Operator program, is really a signature SAKU program, which is focused on enabling the customs administrations really within the member states, which you know, obviously, with the recent dispensation of revenue authorities throughout the whole region. Customs sits largely in terms of implementation within the revenue authorities, and Eswatini Revenue Service here is basically therefore the driver. This program seeks to enable deeper integration and also better trade for the traders within the various member states. The focus of it, of course, being, as I always use the analogy, some sort of a VIP kind of client status where certain well-accredited traders are accorded a status of being an AEO operator. And that brings with it a number of benefits, such as, for example, faster clearance of your goods at the border, which in itself translates into savings because, you know, time is money, you know. It does actually also means that you enjoy a lot of time without the revenue authority having to be, you know, auditing you as frequently as they would otherwise do. And therefore, you really derive a lot of benefit. But at the same time, what I see it as achieving is a rather perhaps interesting ability to strike a balance between your traditional compliance measures by a revenue authority where they would otherwise maybe have to search and scrutinize every cargo that goes through the border posts. But at the same time providing a good, seamless service to what are otherwise their clients, really, the users of the border post. So this system allows the two, which are normally seen as sort of, you know, substitutes. Either you have, you know, heavy compliance without a service where people spend hours and hours on end at the border, or you have just flagging them through and therefore putting the revenue and the security of the country at risk. But what this does is it enables compliance at the same time with a very good service being provided to the traders at the border post. And therefore the issue of compliance becomes a key element of this program. But there's also safety and security, which is another component. Where SAKU comes in is in now enabling this AEO programs, which, by the way, are there in the various member states. We have one here in Eswatini, where you now have 2 accredited operators. Would like to increase that number because the whole idea of this of my being here, working together with the government, is to create awareness and to promote uptake of this program. But once you are accredited, you now have a system within Eswatini. We have one in Lesotho with 10, you have one in Botswana with 3 operators, you have Namibia, we're doing a similar program last week where we have 1. We have 159 in South Africa, which brings the total number of all accredited operators in the whole SAKU region to 159. We're now trying to build a region-wide AEO, which would now mean if you are accredited in Eswatini, you are automatically now enjoying the benefits of perhaps getting the same VIP treatment as a trader in South Africa, in Botswana, in Namibia, in the entire region. And this is done through signing of what are called mutual recognition agreements in the various member states, between the member states, so that this becomes really regional.
It's very interesting. We had the Commerce, Industry and Trade Minister, Senator Manqoba Khumalo. He spoke about, you know, some of the incentives they are trying to implement in sweetening the deal for the private sector when it comes to trade. And I suppose this is one of those developments that's going to be, you know, incentivize this kind of development. You've spoken about Eswatini only has 2 accredited members. If you were to give me an estimate of what is a good-looking number? If we say we have enough accredited members, how many are those? An estimate.
Well, you're probably putting me on the spot. In terms of a number, it really depends, which unfortunately I know is the answer you're not looking for. It depends on the size of the economy. It depends on the dynamics within the economy itself, the industries that perhaps would want to enjoy this. But I think what's important is to stress that we really believe that when all is said and done, the higher the number, the better. I mean, what I can tell you, 2 is certainly not enough for the size of the economy of Eswatini. I'm using the example, for example, of an economy which is even less in terms of GDP of Lesotho, where you have 10 operators as we speak.
Okay.
Therefore, there is potential for Eswatini to really push it up.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking really, perhaps after this, we shall be seeing the uptake increasing.
Yeah. You've spoken about the other members, the other countries. Talk to me about the experience in those countries. Yeah.
It's proven to become very beneficial. I mean, I'll tell you, I happen to actually come from a background of being having been a Commissioner General in Lesotho, where we were driving this program. And I've seen also, we had a session in Namibia just last week, where we were trying to promote this program. The experience is that it's proven to become very, very fruitful and helpful to the business community. I mean, to the extent that really, if you think about it, time is money. There are some other benefits where that's part of the elements is even expedited VAT refund processes if you are in the scheme. And you can imagine the cash flow benefit of that if you're a business, knowing that your VAT refunds will be expedited, but also knowing that you will not be spending time, also knowing that you're not going to be saddled with a revenue authority always auditing you, because time to be set aside to be audited can actually be very costly. In fact, you end up needing to be carrying staff and business processes in order to be now dealing with the revenue authority, which now becomes, the revenue authority becomes a bit of maybe a hurdle that you always need to be clearing in order for you to do business. Through entering this program, you are able to remove that hurdle and focus on you being now a business that can be competitive, especially in global trade, because we are now talking about African countries seeking to leverage on the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, the AFCFTA. And SAKU countries are deliberate in trying to form a united force through which they can then go into Africa and as a unit, as SAKU, leverage on that opportunity in order to industrialize and develop our region. Because this presents a great opportunity, really. One of the best opportunities African countries have had for quite a long time of developing and industrializing.
A great opportunity for Africa, but especially for Eswatini, we have a drive for being, a private sector-led, export-driven economy.
Absolutely.
It has been our post-COVID-19 economic drive, to resuscitate the economy. I want you to talk to me about, what you'd advise to Eswatini in adoption of this program. Obviously, you have highlighted, some of the benefits that we will get, but this is my parting question, so I just want you to give me a comprehensive advice for what you would advise for Eswatini.
Yes. My advice really would be Eswatini should grab this opportunity. Business community in Eswatini should grab this opportunity. Obviously, there are requirements that for you to be accredited under the scheme, you need to, some boxes to tick. You have to have a track record of compliance for one, and you need to be really committed to then, after being accredited, for lack of a better word, behaving in a compliant manner. Because you are being accorded a status that really means behavior is being accorded a status. But my advice would be Eswatini should grab the opportunity, business community should grab the opportunity, but more importantly, should now seek to leverage opportunities that this will present in terms of them trading all over the region, so that we increase intra-SAKU trade. Because if you are accredited in Eswatini and SAKU, as we are going to do, collectively as member states develop a region-wide AEO program, it now presents an opportunity for businesses in Eswatini to now seamlessly go trade in Botswana, in Namibia, Lesotho, and South Africa, being accorded the very same status. So for me, is a matter of the economies of scale that this affords you. It now says in a small economy such as Eswatini, you are able to now, in fact, overcome the limits of the size of the economy to now start seeing SAKU as a market, Realistically so, because it's been on paper for quite a while.
Yeah.
But for now, with this system, we are now saying, here it is possible, because you essentially be seeing the whole of SAKU as a big business, accredited business, as your backyard.
Yeah. I want to, who's eligible to apply? Who's eligible to apply for this program?
It's pretty much any trader, and we do encourage any trader, really, including SMEs.
Interesting.
Of course, there are requirements, I must stress,
Yeah.
and this will be articulated by ERS over and over as part of a promotion campaign.
Commissioners.
Yes. But the point is, any business, but you need to meet a certain criteria that includes track record, as I indicated, and also to be showing that you do have business processes that ERS, for example, will be comfortable with, in terms of them knowing that even when we come once in a while to check whether you still continue to be compliant, there will be an audit trail that enables them to then continue to give you a thumbs up.
So, there are no barriers to entry, even for the youth and women, because we have a situation in Eswatini where we feel like, well, it is a general sentiment that the youth and women are not integrated enough into the formal economy. So with developments like this, do we see them being integrated seamlessly?
I certainly can vouch to that being part of, in fact, the vision of the program to enable the youth and women businesses to also be accredited and being guided to basically now have systems that are, of course, commensurate with their level of development, that will enable them to also grow, because without recognizing the power of the SME sector in terms of unleashing economic development, we would be actually missing out on one great opportunity, especially as it relates to now the Africa Continental Free Trade opportunity.
And we do have the Youth Advisory Council under the AFCFTA. I want this one to be my parting question. I know I said that one would be my parting question, but you know, with your experience, I know this program is going to foster industrialization in all the member states. Talk to me about how much it's going to create job opportunities.
That's the whole idea. You see, at the end of the day, we must realize we don't do these programs for their own sake. They're not an end in themselves. They are geared towards the ultimate objective, really, an outcome of development, economic growth, which is obviously best if it's job creating and as broad-based as possible. Hence why we're talking about the youth, women inclusion, really. So the job creation potential is immense, because I've just made an example of the limits to growth for economies that are small, such as Eswatini, indeed Botswana, Lesotho, and South Africa, to be honest, by global standards. What this does, it really creates the opportunity to overcome that limits to growth that are brought about by a lack of economies of scale, by increasing the market size, so that you are now, as a business based anywhere within SAKU, looking at your market being the entire SAKU. But more importantly, the mutual recognition agreements now break all the barriers, even non-trade barriers that we used to experience. They seek to achieve that, so that trade facilitation and logistics management in the whole region can become sort of, you know, a facilitator of job creation and economic growth. I will also say that the next phase that we'll be looking at is a third-party mutual recognition agreements, where we now say SAKU as a region signs a mutual recognition agreement with the East African community, comprising the countries such as Tanzania, you know, Kenya, and others. Now you're talking now this becoming a vehicle, actually, of delivering the Africa Continental Free Trade Area sort of, you know, vision. Now you now then obviously get a situation where businesses can now start investing all over in the region. That can only benefit the entire region and the individual countries in terms of job creation, economic development, and therefore, you know, improved economic outcomes.
You're talking about it being a vehicle for economic development, job creation. I also see an element of, you know, driving peacekeeping, really. Yeah.
Oh, I guess. I mean, those are some of the positive spin-offs. Because let's face it, when there's prosperity, it becomes easier to lock in peace.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mr. Khasipe, thank you so much. I hope you're going to enjoy. I don't know how long you'll be in Eswatini for, but I hope you're going to enjoy your stay here.
Yeah.
And all the best with all the developments you here to make sure that they come into fruition.
Thank you for having me, Sfiso. It's been my pleasure. I'm here for the day for sure. We're going to have a very long program trying to promote this, scheme.
Mr. Khasipe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Today, the Southern African Customs Union, SAKU and the Eswatini Revenue Service will jointly engage with the private sector on the authorized economic operator under the theme AEO accreditation, bringing real benefits to businesses in Eswatini. This will provide, as he has articulated, participants with the opportunity to learn about the AEO program and its benefits to the traders in order to enhance their business competitiveness for sustainable growth and compliance with customs and tax law, as well as partnership with the government. Let's go for a net break. When we return, we talk to ERS Commissioner, Mr. Brightwell Nkambule.
Watch local TV on the go with the Eswatini TV app for only 20 emalangeni per month. Do the most with Eswatini TV app. Download from Google Play Store or App Store.
We're good together. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Why should we pay our TV license?
The content on our local television is actually more up to date. The industry is enhanced.
It is a criminal offense not to pay your TV license and attracts a fine of 500 emalangeni or 6 months imprisonment.
And the industry is definitely blooming, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we have for you. But we'll be right back just after the break and we'll give you more of Missed Fee. Pay my TV license. That's why I can enjoy the benefits of an enhanced industry and keep track with recent transformation.
Mommy, who paid for a TV license and what are they paying for? The owners of TV set and gadget with a tuner like DVD set have to pay.
Pay your TV license at Nedbank with the details provided on screen. Or use your cell phone via the mobile money Pay. You could also visit your nearest post office and pay there. Pay your TV license via Eswatini Mobile Imali. Any TV device retailer can purchase a license to trade. Pay your TV license and enhance the industry.
"42 minutes after 6, we had just, spoken to Mr. Thabo Kusile, who is the Executive Secretary with SAKU. Nyaloge, we have Mr. Brightwell Nkambule, just, to talk about, to bring it home, really, and to hear what the role of the ERS is, because we know that the ERS is known to have been involved in a number of modernization initiatives since inception in 2011. The SAKU Executive Secretary has already given perspective of the Authorized Economic Operator Program from a regional level. Mr. Brightwell Nkambule, a very good morning. Lovely, so wonderful to have you on the show today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you for having me, and good morning to the viewers as well.
So too, the Executive Secretary of SAKU has just spoken about, this program on a regional level. Let's bring it home now. What does this program mean for Eswatini, especially, for business?
Thank you. This program is a very big win for business. It's a big win for the country as well. It's a win-win. Briefly, just starting with what we see as the ERS, this program helps develop trust between ourselves and business and traders. Also, it helps us build trust between ourselves, other agencies that are at the border, and business.
Yeah.
So business tends to benefit from what the Executive Secretary called VIP status.
Yeah.
It means the parties trust each other. So a lot of the formalities that we would do in country, compliance formalities we'll do at the border. With the VIP treatment, do not have to be at the extent at which they can be with a non-VIP.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that for the trader, that means spending less time at the border,
yeah,
because the parties trust each other. Now, less time at the border, you can imagine, is reduction in cost.
Yes.
Then it means, the transportation of goods can flow easier.
Yeah.
So in the very immediate term, is reduction in cost for business. It is less frustration, as you may have had every once in a while, how traders sometimes can get frustrated.
Yeah.
Because I would like to call it being closer to creating an invisible border, where goods can flow easily in and out of the country. Medium term, more simplification of the processes at the border means those of our traders who attempt to circumvent or bypass the procedures will be encouraged to come to the mainstream, because the processes are now simpler.
Yeah.
In the long term, you can imagine that it means growth of business, growth in the economy, growth in
the region,
growth in employment as well.
Yeah.
So it's a big win for business. It's a big win for us. Some of the procedures that we are likely that we will follow with the program is to be less intrusive on the businesses of traders. The Executive Secretary did talk about some of the compliance processes like audits. If we trust you, it means there's less instances of having to audit you. But most important for me, it is developing trust between the parties.
Yeah. And certainly, I'm just thinking about, when I look at the ERS, we read the papers, we listen to media. It's always under intense criticism, just even outside of Eswatini. It's just a general sentiment. I think it's a natural thing that people are inherently, they love to complain.
Yeah.
But, I think it's beautiful to see that it's going to expedite VAT refunds, as the Secretary said, and, make the ease of trade much easier, just like you've highlighted. Talk to me about what has been done to promote this program and ensure that, traders and importers apply to be accredited as authorized economic operators.
Yes. This program started a while back. We started off calling it the Preferred Trader Program, going back as far back as, the ERS was established, SRA then. We've been promoting, the Preferred Trader Program then. We had, as the ES did highlight earlier, we had only two traders subscribing. But to us, what it is telling us is that, we have not done sufficiently to alert traders about the program, because it's a very good program.
Yeah.
It's a win for as I said earlier, it's a win for traders.
Yeah.
It's a win for us.
Yeah.
So there's really no reason except asymmetry of information, except them not being aware, of the benefits of the program. So we appreciate extensively the support that we've been getting from SAKU, for instance, as we're getting this week, to promote the program.
Yeah. You're saying the Preferred Trader Program is, it's been there for a while.
Yeah.
But I just want to know, when we look at the Preferred Trader Program and the authorized, the AEO, would you say the AEO has sweetened the deal even, much better than the Preferred Trader Program was? Are the benefits much sweeter?
Well, let's say the AEO is an advanced version of the PTP. The AEO, yesterday, as an example, we had, with the support of SAKU, we had a workshop that was seeking to ensure that within the country, we all buy into the program, being the ERS and the other border agencies.
Yeah.
And then the ES did also highlight that this is a regional program, which means that even the other administrations, the other customs administrations in the region buy into it. Last week we signed a memorandum of arrangement with the South African Revenue Services under the program. And what that means is that a trader who is trusted by the ERS, the border agencies within Eswatini, will also be trusted on the South African side. So that was the major weakness now going into the past, where we would be trusting the trader. But that's not enough, because there are other agencies at the border.
Yeah.
One, there's another border. So with this program now, we are in a position where this trader is a VIP to us, is a VIP to other agencies at the border, is a VIP on the South African side.
Yeah.
So that both borders are invisible.
Yeah. And speaking of borders, I'm very, happy with the development of Oshuk Border Post that operates 24 hours now. And Minister Mangoba Khumalo highlighted that they are trying to advance that development to Lavumisa now.
Yeah.
I think it's also going to, help this program. I asked the ES about, the eligibility criteria.
Yeah.
He attempted to answer it, but he did make it clear that you are going to be the one to give us, a much more comprehensive answer. Talk to me about who's eligible to apply.
It's open to all.
Okay.
Yes, it's open to all. The criteria for being accepted into the program will be made available to all. And also, let me just mention that we are promoting this program also under the National Trade Facilitation Committee. And that committee is made up of the ERS, the other agencies, the regulatory agencies that we have at the border. It's made up of business, big and small.
Okay.
So this particular program, for instance, is championed by BE, Business Eswatini.
Okay.
Which means it's a program that is owned by business. Now, being owned by business, we are confident that over time business will understand it,
right,
and then subscribe, because business stands to benefit.
Of course.
Other border agencies stand to benefit. The ERS stands to benefit from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a win-win-win.
Yeah, we understand that, you know, one of the major, rather key benefits of being an authorized economic operator is a dedicated client relationship manager. Are you ready, and do you have capacity as the Eswatini Revenue Service, you know, to be to provide this fancy service to your clients?
Yes, indeed. I can share right now that from 2017 we established a unit of customer relationship managers. Okay. And at the time, we had about 5 or 6 officers. Last year, we expanded that list. Right now, we have 18, officers who are client relationship managers. Their role is to look after the client for, all their needs. At domestic tax level and even at customs level. So theirs is just to look after the client, 365. So which means our clients will be VIPs, in all the tax types in country. There'll be VIPs even on the customs side.
Yeah. Mr. Nkambule, we thank you so much for coming to the show today. It was informative and insightful, and we hope that the private sector is going to benefit from this program. Good luck with the engagement today.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. And as a parting shot, this program belongs to business.
Yeah.
We work for business, right?
Yeah.
And so we're very happy to make this program a success, reduce cost to business, and ultimately we will see growth in the economy of the country.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Brightwell Nkambule, he is the ERS Commissioner in Eswatini, just giving us a local perspective of what Eswatini seeks to benefit from this program. They will have the engagement later today. In fact, this morning, I believe, Mr. Nkambule, it's going to be this morning. We are sure to, give you an update on the news with what went down there. It is 53 minutes after 6. Let's take a quick ad break, and we return. We'll give you the traffic update. Don't go anywhere.
Do you remember the spinning thing? This is us. This picture represents what we did. We were there when coronavirus wreaked havoc in our population. Together with other stakeholders, we formed the first line, controlling the spread of the unknown and unseen enemy of the people. Anxious ourselves, we collected dead bodies countrywide. At the time when no one wanted to come near dead bodies of loved ones, we did care for our fellow citizens. Thank you, the people of Eswatini and teams of first responders.
5 minutes before 7, what are the roads looking like? Let's get a traffic update from Sergeant Muzikule. Makwabane siyakuvusela ke nalomhla ekuseni elihlelweni. Timo semgwaqo sime kanjani Makwabane?
Anguvusele Mnguni, ngivusele umbukelo walolu hlelo. Mihle imigwaqo yethu iyahambeka. Namhla nasibuka umthamo wethu modolo wehlile kwadise ukuthi ikolo lesiningi divalile kepha ke siyakholwa ukuthi ngikuphakama kwelanga kwadise ukuthi siyakuwo emaholide siyakuyo ilong weekend uyawuthi kuphakame imthamo emigwaqweni. Kugcizelela nje kakhulu bekunene ukuthi indlela lephephile kusebenzisa umgwaqo kugcina timpawu temgwaqo nekulandzela umthetho wemgwaqo nokuthi nje sihloniphane lapho lomunye sekabonakala asephutheni kanti etibaneni tethu temgwaqo tibane lesekhathe edolobheni laseMbabane tisebenta kahle lapha kumathapha kamanzini kanjalo nalapha enhlangano noko ke titela letiningi njengoba siyawukhumbula ukuthi solo tiyakhiwa ekhathe edolobheni laseMbabane Somhlolo Road lekustelati lesisuka khona lapha etulubo ecourt noma ke Scott wehlele khona lapha indasi ekhathe edolobheni kubo Rail Insurance naleso stelati leso solo sibhizi impela kuyakhiwa kuningi kakhulu tindzawo lapho tendiwa khona noma ke kuvalwe khona imigwaqo siyawusebenzisa ke tinfunja zite lesibekelwe tona ukuthi singathi sebenzisa kwesikhashana noko lesingakuqaphelisa nje ukuthi le migwaqo iyagega ayisiyo lehambako ngalokuqondile idinga ukuthi ube nesikhathi lesanele sekuhamba ekhathi edolobheni nekukhuthatha ke ukuthi umthamo kuleto dalanti uba setulu kwatise ukuthi imoto lotihamba ngesivinini lesiphansi kakhulu ngakho ke asisebenzise nanguye umgwaqo lomkhulu losuka lapha ehekeni lasengwenya lo nguyoqhamukela khona lapha etulu kumangwaneni lotakwenda ukuthi ungene soqhamuka ungathi uqhamuka kamanzini ngiyona ndlela leyawuphangisa na ungena ekhathi edolobheni kanti ke lapha endasi futhi kamanzini nakhona titalati lethu lapha eCentral solo-ke leso simo lapho kugugulwe khona ke litiyela siyagcizelela nakhona bekunene ukuthi asichubeke silehlise litubane kwatise ukuthi kuloyo mgwaqo kuphakama dona ke tinfuli yena siqiniseke ukuthi wena lo hamba ngetinyawo uyadenetisa ukuthi ludaka noma ke lolo tinfuli setihleti phansi so uyakhona kubona ngalokuphephile so uyawusebenzisa ke umgwaqo wakho nalapha enasi yake salat lisuka lapha masala esikhundleni lesisuka khona lapha kubo Estel House khona lapha elichaka nalezo salat leso naso sikuleso simo kanti ke etifundzele letinye lesikubonako ma potholes na ubheka khona lapha kubo Big Bend na ubheka itulu bomhlambanyathi ubheka itulu kubophunya awu kanjalo ke noma uqhamuka itulu lapha kumathamo ubuya khona edolobheni laseSpeak emgwaqweni long MR1 nalapho kuyabonakala kakhulu ke lawo ma potholes nemfuyo ke lesigcizelela kakhulu kumnikati wemfuyo ukuthi akakhweshise imfuyo njengoba sicala wona nje maholiday lamakhulu lafana nalawa asende isiqiniseko zokunene ukuthi sishayela ngendlela leyawuba nguleyo lephephile nokuthi ke sikhweshise imfuyo ivakashite live titofika tinglethe lephephile kungaba ngiloko nje kuseni sifisela wonke lo sebenzisa umgwaqo langa lelihle lembela sonto leyawuba ngilephephile sisasebenzisa nemigwaqo siyabonga kakhulu.
Sibonga kakhulu Magwabane nanike sifisela lisuku loluhle nisasebenza nichuba umsebenzi welive 2 minutes before 7 sibahlole emarket masibuya tindzaba letichamuka ngephandle kwalapha eveni.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Seven a.m. on the dot. Let's look at our international news. Former President Donald Trump was charged on Tuesday with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in a historic case over allegations he orchestrated hush money payments to 2 women before the 2016 U.S. election. Trump later returned to his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, where he delivered a defiant speech, painting himself as the victim of political persecution.
As his motorcade arrives in Florida, it's quite a homecoming for Donald Trump. Back at his Mar-a-Lago estate following his arrest in New York, the former president listed every way he's been politically persecuted, blasted the Democrats and accused the judge assigned to his case of prejudice.
And I never thought anything like this could happen in America. Never thought it could happen. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. Right now, I have a Trump-hating judge with a Trump-hating wife and family whose daughter worked for Kamala Harris and now receives money from the Biden-Harris campaign, and a lot of them.
Earlier on Tuesday, the 76-year-old appeared in Manhattan criminal court, marking the first time a sitting or former US president has been charged with a crime. Trump pled not guilty to 34 felony charges, as prosecutors accused him of paying two women to suppress their sexual encounters with him. And Manhattan's district attorney has vowed to press on in the name of justice.
We today uphold our solemn responsibility to ensure that everyone stands equal before the law. No amount of money and no amount of power changes that enduring American principle.
The judge, Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan, didn't issue a gag order on the former president and set the next court hearing for December 4th. The process is likely to take many months, and legal analysts expect this battle to be far from over before the November 2024 presidential election, where Trump is the Republican frontrunner.
For more on Trump's indictment, he has pleaded not guilty in New York to 34 felony charges of falsifying business records. On Tuesday evening, Trump again denied the charges and attacked the New York prosecutor's motives.
Trump surrendered at a New York City courthouse where he denied charges of involvement in a scheme to hide accusations of sexual misconduct by falsifying business records, to hide payoffs to accusers, including a former adult film actor.
34 false statements made to cover up other crimes. These are felony crimes in New York State, no matter who you are.
Trump was greeted by supporters as he returned to Florida and was defiant in a televised address at his Mar-a-Lago resort, where he said the prosecutor was motivated by politics.
With a local failed district attorney charging a former president of the United States for the first time in history on a basis that every single pundit and legal analyst said, there is no case, there's no case.
But a grand jury of citizens voted to charge Trump, and one analyst says his attacks on the legal process will only backfire. Paul Schiff Berman teaches law at George Washington University. He spoke by Skype.
The case is going to be heard based on the facts and the law. And I also don't think it will help him in the main with the American people, because most Americans want the legal process to operate fully and fairly, even with regard to a former president.
People who gathered outside the New York courthouse were divided and passionate. Dion Cheney is a supporter.
I'm here to support my president, Donald Trump, the greatest president in American history, probably the best leader on planet Earth ever.
Jennifer Fisher is not a fan of Trump.
He's a con man. He has a lot of people still fooled. Most New Yorkers he doesn't fool, but I hope they'll see the light.
Trump faces the unprecedented indictment while he remains a leading contender for the Republican nomination for president.
We move now from the updates of President Trump, and we talk about President Emmanuel Macron and President Ursula von der Leyen. French President Emmanuel Macron and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen arrive in Beijing on Wednesday for a 3-day state visit in a bid to dissuade China from supporting Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
It's his first visit to the country since 2019. And on Wednesday, the French president will touch down in Beijing for a 3-day state visit in what could be a diplomatic balancing act with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. Top of the agenda is Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Whilst China claims to hold a neutral stance, it has refused to criticize or sanction Russia's actions on the world stage, with President Xi even paying President Putin a visit just last month. Accompanying Macron is the European Commission president, who believes China mustn't continue its silent complicity.
As a permanent member of the Security Council, China has a responsibility to safeguard the principles and values that lie at the heart of the UN Charter. And China has a responsibility to play a constructive role in advancing a just peace.
Other issues on the table causing contention with the bloc are China's human rights violations in Xinjiang and disinformation coercion through app TikTok. For its part, Beijing has said it's willing to cooperate.
China is willing to work with France to take this visit as an opportunity to promote new results in our close strategic partnership, play a positive role in the healthy development of China-EU relations, and make positive contributions to the promotion of world peace, stability and development.
Aside from important talks, Macron is also expected to meet French residents there during his visit, as well as heading to the southern metropolis of Guangzhou, a personal place for Xi, where his father worked in the 1980s.
China is vowing to defend its sovereignty just after hours after a high-level meeting between Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen and Speaker of the United States House of Representatives Kevin McCarthy.
Striking a defiant tone, Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen shook hands and traded smiles with Democratic and Republican lawmakers in a historic meeting on U.S. soil.
Taiwan strives to be a reliable partner to the world, a cornerstone for stability in the region.
The politically sensitive session underscores U.S. lawmakers' growing support for Taiwan as tensions simmer with China. Saying democracy was under threat, Tsai thanked the U.S. for standing by Taipei's side.
In a discussion with congressional leaders this morning, I reiterated Taiwan's commitment to defending the peaceful status quo. Their presence and unwavering support reassure the people of Taiwan that we are not isolated and we are not alone.
The meeting is expected to draw a strong response from Beijing, whose One China policy declares itself the only Chinese government, under which it claims Taiwan as its own territory. It therefore views any interaction between the U.S. and Taiwan as a challenge to its claim to the island. Washington does not endorse Beijing's position and remains Taiwan's key provider of military and defense assistance. Last August, China responded to a visit by then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan with its largest military drills in decades.
In Israel, Israeli police arrested more than 350 people on early Wednesday after clashes at Jerusalem's flashpoint Al-Aqsa Mosque. A police spokesperson said that the clashes erupted inside the mosque as police said they had entered to dislodge agitators who had fireworks, sticks and stones.
These images, released by Israeli police, show hundreds of fireworks exploding as forces enter Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque in the early hours of Wednesday morning. Those inside the place of worship say that they were physically assaulted by Israeli officers.
The Israeli police attacked us inside there. All the young people inside are suffering, and no one is helping them. What are you waiting for? They attacked everyone inside. The windows of the mosque are all broken.
The violence comes nearly halfway through Ramadan and as Jews prepare to celebrate Passover. The Israeli police have since released a statement attempting to justify the actions of their officers.
Tonight, as police worked to allow large numbers of Muslims to celebrate the month of Ramadan, several young outlaws and masked agitators brought fireworks, sticks and stones into the mosque. After many long and unsuccessful attempts to remove them through dialogue, the police were forced to dislodge them in order to allow the first dawn prayers to take place and to prevent violent disturbances.
The incident has received international condemnation from both Egypt and Saudi Arabia, the latter saying that it undermines peace efforts in the region. Following the clashes, several rockets were fired from the north of the Gaza Strip towards Israeli territory. The Palestinian Islamist group Hamas, who ruled the Strip, denounced what they called an unprecedented crime. The Palestinian rockets prompted a swift reply, with Israeli planes striking Gaza early on Wednesday morning. According to Hamas, the Israeli strikes hit 2 training camps, one in Gaza City and another in a refugee camp.
France's Interior Minister, Gérald Darmanin, must fend off fierce criticism this Wednesday morning as he's requested, or rather questioned, by members of parliament, then senators, on the use of force by the French police and gendarmerie during recent protests that have shaken France.
The world has watched the violence unfold in France in recent weeks. During the protests against the pension reform and the crackdown on demonstrations against new water reservoirs in the west of the country, police have been filmed using force. Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin is being grilled in Parliament this Wednesday on whether this force has been unacceptably violent. He's blamed the violence on rioters and the far left, who he accuses of trying to destroy democracy.
The
far left and the extreme left want chaos and have called for public buildings to be burned and for police and gendarmes to be murdered.
Since the protests took hold in January, more than 440 police and gendarmes have been injured, but no official figure has been provided for the number of injured civilians. The Council of Europe, NGOs and a UN Special Rapporteur have all warned against the use of excessive force by French police. In 2019, the UN asked the French government to conduct an in-depth review of every alleged instance of police abuse, a request which critics say has fallen on deaf ears. Darmanin said on Sunday that since the start of the protests, internal inspectors have been looking into the actions of 38 officers and gendarmes. Meanwhile, local prosecutors have begun their own inquiries, for instance surrounding the reservoir protest in Sainte-Soline.
Je lance un appel à témoins.
I'm launching an appeal for direct testimonies of the facts surrounding these 4 victims.
These clashes left a number of campaigners seriously injured, with one still in a coma after 11 days.
United States pharmaceutical giant Johnson & Johnson on Tuesday proposed an $8.9 billion settlement to resolve years-old lawsuits claiming that its talcum powder products have caused cancer.
As long as I can remember, Johnson's baby powder's been making me feel soft, fresh, and loved from the start.
It's been a staple in families' bathrooms for decades, since it first went on sale in 1894.
There just isn't a softer, gentler way to get every little bit of you dry.
But Johnson's baby powder has also been at the centre of tens of thousands of lawsuits, alleging that the talc-based powder causes cancer. Now the US company has offered to settle all current and future claims in North America to the tune of $8.9 billion. If agreed by a bankruptcy court and plaintiffs, the settlement would be paid out to the tens of thousands of claimants over 25 years. Johnson & Johnson's maintains, though, that this is not an admission of wrongdoing and that their talcum powder products are safe, but resolving the matter was in the best interest of the company and stakeholders. Before the 1970s, talcum powder was often contaminated with asbestos, a carcinogen. But since then, all home products containing talcum powder are legally obliged to be asbestos-free. Studies have shown that traces sometimes remain, though. A 2018 Reuters investigation alleged that Johnson & Johnson's knew for decades that asbestos lurked in its talc products, but the global giant has always denied such claims. But amid the controversy and falling demand, Johnson & Johnson stopped selling its baby powder in the United States and Canada in May 2020 and is ending global sales this year. It'll sell a cornstarch-based baby powder instead.
Military honors, tributes and praise welcomed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his wife to Poland on Wednesday as the couple made a state visit in a gesture of thanks for the crucial support the neighboring country provided to Ukraine's defense against Russia's invasion.
A warm welcome for Ukraine's president in Warsaw. Polish President Andrzej Duda held a ceremony in honor of Volodymyr Zelensky's arrival in Poland with his wife.
It's a great honor for me to be here today with my wife. And I want to thank the President, his team, the Polish government, and every Pole for what you have already done.
Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki is also holding talks with Zelensky just 40 days after their last meeting in Kyiv. Warsaw has been one of Kyiv's closest allies since the beginning of the war in Ukraine, with diplomatic, economic and military support. Poland has provided over €2 billion in military aid since the start of the war and has been at the forefront of efforts to persuade other Western allies to send weapons to the country. Just 2 days ago, it became the first NATO ally to send fighter jets to Ukraine, whereas others like France and Britain are still hesitant to take such a big step. On the streets of Warsaw, Poles have been praising the Ukrainian president's visit.
I am really happy. I hope that a lot of issues that are important both to us and to Ukraine will be discussed.
This is a visit that will undoubtedly have a huge importance for further cooperation between Poland and Ukraine. I hope that once the war is over, we will have priority in obtaining agreements for the reconstruction of the country.
Zelensky is also set to meet with Ukrainians who escaped the war and took refuge in Poland. Since the beginning of the invasion, more than 1.5 million Ukrainians have fled to the country.
A day after celebrating Finland's joining the Transatlantic Security Alliance, NATO members got down to work on Wednesday, tackling security threats posed by both Russia and China. Here's a report.
After rejoicing over Finland becoming NATO's 31st member, Alliance foreign ministers on Wednesday faced the harsh reality of the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine and planned how to equip Ukraine for an expected spring counteroffensive against invading Russian forces. Finland took its place at the table as part of the NATO family. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the addition of Finland will have a major impact.
Finland also makes the alliance as a whole stronger. And that's important in and of itself. I think it may have some additional benefits in the sense that to the extent Russia thinks about expanding or broadening its aggression, the deterrent that NATO poses to that has now become even stronger.
On Tuesday, Blinken had this message for Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I'm tempted to say this is maybe the one thing we can thank Mr. Putin for, because he, once again here, has precipitated something he claims to want to prevent.
Russia had said it would respond to Finland joining NATO by increasing its military presence if necessary. The Brussels meeting came as NATO tanks and fighting vehicles are showing up on the battlefield in Ukraine. Ukraine's defense minister shared a video last week showing him taking a test ride on a British-supplied Challenger 2 battle tank. One expert told VOA the world is watching to see how Ukraine's expected spring counteroffensive will play out.
So whether it's the United States, whether it's Russia, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's China, whether it's Europe, whether it's the world's democracies and non-democracies, I think everybody's holding their breath at the moment. And there's just not much that's going to happen diplomatically until we see how far this counteroffensive goes.
The battle for Bakhmut continues to rage in Ukraine, and most of the city's 70,000 people have fled. Another analyst told VOA that Bakhmut is still the focus for Kyiv.
The Ukrainians are really focused on stabilizing the situation around Bakhmut, while at the same time tying down as many Russian forces there as possible, while also at the same time ramping up the training and the equipment of the Abrams, of the Challengers, of the Strykers, of the Bradleys, of the Leopards. So when the conditions are right, when the battlefield has been prepped, as they like to say, and as the mud starts to dry up, then I think we'll see the Ukrainians make some big moves on the battlefield.
Blinken and the other NATO leaders said that Russia had failed to demoralize Ukrainians or the alliance that is supporting them during the winter, as Putin had planned.
As Syria's northeast slowly recovers from February's earthquakes, farmers are grappling with the devastation in an area vital to supplying food to a rebel-held enclave in Idlib.
February's deadly earthquakes destroyed towns and cities, but also brought devastation to Syrian farmers in the rebel-controlled Idlib province. Farmer Mohammed Taleb Dibo is still counting the cost on his once productive farm.
A farmer cannot repair this great destruction to the agricultural sector because these huge cracks in the land need heavy machinery like tractors to bulldoze and fill them and to uproot dead trees. Without this, we can't work the land.
The quakes also weaken levees and nearby dams, triggering flooding and drowning many fruit orchards. Stagnant water is causing roots to rot in the once fertile soil. The region, with its abundance of water served by the Orontes River, is a primary supplier of food for the rebels controlling Idlib province.
Cracks in the levees next to the Orontes River also led to flooding very large areas of agricultural land. The northwest Syria region is one of the fertile areas rich in land, agricultural, and water resources. This area works to provide the region with many food crops, and especially vital to food security.
Farmers are warning of food shortages and soaring prices, adding to the hardship of the people, many of whom have lost everything to the earthquakes. Debo is trying to get his farm back into production, but he says, like many, he has no financial reserves.
We sell grain cash crops in order to buy diesel fuel for the water pump to irrigate the land and buy fertilizer. But because of the earthquake and flood, we lost everything, and we no longer have financial reserves to start again.
Farmers warn of spoiled crops and a missed planting season.
I have very large losses that cannot be counted. I have lost more than 10 acres and all of this year's crop, which my family used to live on from this land. Now, we cannot live from it at all. My land was spoiled definitively, as you can see. The fruits are all withered.
The speed of the farm's recovery will be critical in preventing the quake's aftermath from spiraling into a hunger crisis.
A falling local currency, salary arrears payments, and war spending have pushed up prices in impoverished Democratic Republic of Congo, leaving locals struggling to afford basics.
Less for more. Shoppers in Kinshasa are feeling the crunch as the Congolese franc continues to plummet against the dollar.
Before, we used to buy a bunch of leaves, like this one, for 500 francs, but now it costs 3,000. What are we going to do? Where will this situation take us?
Sellers, too, say they're struggling to maintain their profit margins. The increase in prices has been felt across the board, from food to transport. The Congolese franc has depreciated by around 15% against the US dollar since the start of the year. The drop in the currency has contributed to pushing prices up, especially since the DRC has one of the most dollarized economies in the world. This means that dollars are accepted in many shops and restaurants, and that people make their most significant purchases in dollars. But people are usually paid in the local currency. At this currency exchange market in Kinshasa, there's a surplus of francs and not enough dollars.
It's a law of supply and demand. When demand increases, so do the prices. And as a result, there is a higher demand for dollars. Everyone comes looking for dollars, and so we end up with too many Congolese francs in circulation.
This situation has been exacerbated by the conflict taking place in the country's east, which has led to increased government spending. Economists say that this has played a role in creating a surplus of Congolese francs on the local market.
The push to legally restrict children's access to social media in the United States is gaining steam. So far, however, researchers say there are both negative and positive aspects of minors using the platforms. Here's a report.
No more social media access for those under 18 without their parents' permission. That will be the new standard in Utah when two new laws signed by Republican Governor Spencer Cox take effect in March 2024.
Our administration is very concerned about how social media is affecting our children.
youth rates of depression and other mental health issues are on the rise, and social media companies know their products are toxic.
Other governors and lawmakers in several states also want social media companies to be held accountable for what they argue are addictive features. There is no scientific evidence, however, to conclude that social media is the sole cause of mental health problems in minors, says Mitch Prinstein, Chief Science Officer of the American Psychological Association.
We instead need to talk about what are the specific features built into social media platforms, and what is the specific content that kids could be exposed to on social media that may be helpful or harmful to which specific kids.
Meta, the company that owns Instagram, told VOA in a statement that besides removing content that promotes self-harm, it has tools that help teens have age-appropriate experiences. Snapchat is constantly being evaluated to make the platform safer, a spokesperson told VOA. Still, school districts in Seattle and other states have filed lawsuits blaming tech giants for a mental health crisis among students. Social media, more often than not, amplifies vulnerabilities that already exist. But it's a tool that has positive aspects too, according to digital media researcher Katie Davis.
In terms of teens' access to information and support online for the different identities that they are exploring.
Social media also creates educational opportunities, says researcher Linda Charmarman, an independent consultant for Meta. She encourages tech giants to work more closely with scientists and find effective ways to support the well-being of young social media users.
Find interesting, innovative ways to notice that somebody is struggling. They could find ways in which they could make it not as enticing.
Charmarman also believes parents and teachers should become well-versed on the benefits and challenges of social media so they can identify unwanted behaviors in children and provide adequate guidance.
Sudan has a rich archaeological history, boasting more pyramids than Egypt. At the University of Khartoum, women archaeologists are set to dominate the field, with more than 90% of archaeology students now female.
While Egypt might be the first place that springs to mind when it comes to pyramids, follow the Nile River further south to Sudan and you'll discover Meroe. They're arguably Sudan's most important archaeological treasure, and now female archaeologists are set to take the reins of studying them. Lina Hatem Ahmed is an archaeology student at the University of Khartoum.
In Africa and in Sudan, people are not aware of the importance of archaeology. Studying it is fun. We're enthusiastic about it, and it makes up a part of a rounded education. Archaeology subfields, too, help us develop a view of the world.
Yahya Fadil Daha leads the university's archaeology department, where 27 of 30 students are women. Women, he notes, often score higher in entrance exams.
The majority of students are females. Historically, women have always been a part of Sudanese life, and just like they were during the Meroitic civilization, they are participating in our civilization today.
According to the UN, Sudanese women suffer multiple forms of discrimination and inequality. Some female students say they have had to overcome preconceived notions of gender roles to get into archaeology.
I meet some people that don't support my studies and keep telling me that this is against our traditions and religious beliefs. For example, they say, how can you travel to exhume bodies? So objections come from a lack of understanding.
But she says her family has always been supportive of her work. Fatma Abdurrahman says her family does not support her going on field trips outside of Khartoum and forbids her taking longer trips, which are often needed.
My family doesn't have a problem if I work nearby, but they definitely say no if I have to be away from home for a month. Also, working further afield is really difficult and tiring because we work for a full day, and in some places there is no internet or connection, so I can't communicate with my family.
Nonetheless, she hopes to continue her studies and become an archaeological tour guide so she can play a part in introducing Sudan's rich history to more people.
Imizuzu ke lengemashumi lamabili nemfica lesele ukuthi kubumbane insimbi yesiphohlongo lomhla ekuseni. Sibahlole emakethe sithathe isimo selitulo masibuya sichubeka nelihlelo.
We are talking about salt in our diet today. What happens when we consume too much salt, and how can we reduce it in our diet? And why should we do that? Hello and welcome to Science in 5. I'm Vismita Gupta-Smith. We are talking to Dr. Francesco Branca today. Welcome, Francesco. Francesco, WHO's latest report is urging everyone to reduce salt in our diet. Please explain to us what happens when we consume too much salt.
Consuming too much salt is leading to increased blood pressure and to increased risk of death for heart disease and stroke. Too much salt is the most important dietary risk factor for the global burden of disease. We have 1 adult in 4 that has a high blood pressure, and we have 2 million people dying every year as a result of consuming too much salt.
Francesco, how do we know if we are consuming too much salt?
Most of us are consuming too much salt. The WHO recommends to consume not more than 5 grams of salt every day, which is roughly half of what on average people consume in the world. You can get salt from what you add to foods at home, or you can get salt from the manufactured products. In many high-income countries, the largest amount of salt comes from manufactured food. About 80% comes from manufactured food, such as bread, cheeses, preserved meat, but also high salt snacks and food consumed out of home. Normally the same preparation that we consume at home is less salt than the one that is produced in a restaurant, for example. Just to give you an example, if you take an average bag of chips of 150 grams, that only that bag of chips contains half of the salt we're supposed to consume every day. In lower income countries, sodium or salt comes mainly from what is added during the home preparation and during the preparation of preserves. It comes from condiments or other sauces that are added to the food.
Francesco, let's talk about how we can reduce our salt intake.
You can progressively reduce salt in our diet and adjust your taste. It will take a few weeks, but eventually you will be able to reduce your salt intake. Remember that we need to do that by 1/3 to 1/2 of our current intake. Some of it is under our control, and we can add less salt during cooking. We can replace it with other seasoning, lemon, juice, spices. We can also decide to buy less of the food that contains a high amount of salt, the processed food. We can buy less frequently certain options. We can also buy alternatives. The same products sometimes is designed to contain less salt. And if you look at the labels, it's actually explicitly mentioned that it could be a low salt product. We can also altogether replace certain options with healthier ones. So if you reduce the consumption of salty snacks, you can instead consume fruit and or vegetable as a snack. And fruit and vegetable not only contains less salt, but they contain another important mineral, potassium, which is protective for our arteries and actually protects us from increased blood pressure. But then it's not just our responsibility, but it's what we see in the food environment we live. And governments can nudge companies to put on the market products with less salt, but they can also offer meals in public institutions such as schools that contain less salt. So there could be really an overall collaboration between individual consumers and public health authorities to help us reduce the risk of high blood pressure by reducing salt intake.
Thank you, Francesco. That was Science in 5 today. Until next time then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stick with science.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Minutes after 7, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Our in-house journalist Sonto Mlangeni does join again namhla lihlelweni kusipha nje i-reaction kubulaweni ke kwalabo lababekwe ku National Disability Council for National Advisory Council for Disabled Persons lapha event njengoba ke sibonile liphini landvunankulu Themba Masuka elangeni la Itolo li-announce ukuthi sebabekiwe labo ke labatawubuka leyo council leyo. Sonto Mlangeni, siyajabula kuba nawe lamhla elihlelweni Mlingani. Kunjani namhla kusasa?
Siyaphila kakhulu Sifiso, singakuvusela phindze sivusele nebabukeli.
Sabakutayela ke wena babukele emakhaya nje akugameli welcome kakhulu. Sonto sibona liphini landvunankulu elangeni la Itolo li announce the newly elected National Advisory Council for Disabled Persons lapha event. What is your reaction? Siyathi ukuthi le-office lakhe vele libabukile abantu laba disabled. Kanti ke sitawukhumbula ukuthi I think ndvunankulu welive ku cabinet retreat nakayivala under a social safety net. Bantu laba disabled nalabadzala ubabaleka nenge ethi vele tinhlelo tabo tabatnenge kuba nakekela. What's your reaction?
Siyabonga kakhulu Sifiso, lesingakusho nje ukuthi vele Itolo kwenteke info leyingayizivele kakhulu even la Eswatini ukuthi liphini landvunankulu lisukumisa ngalokho semthethweni le Disability Council. Kusho ukuthi ke Sifiso le Disability Council singathi libandla lelitatimela le ngingathi nje some sort of a parastatal lelitawukhona kubukisisa tindzaba tebantfu labakhubatekile. Lelibandla lakhiwa ngemva kokuthi live likhone kwakha umthetho we-Disability Act of 2018. So kwakhiwa kwale act lelethi kufanele kwakhiwe lelibandla. Kwakhiwa ke kwaleli bandla sekwenda ukuthi lo mthetho salusebenta ngalokuphelele. Lelibandla ke leli Sifiso kubheka ukuthi libuke kwekuthi vele impilo tebantfu labakhubatekile tingathuthukiswa kanjani eveni. Lengce libuke imisebenzi yeku fundraiser kwekuthi mhlawumbe imali tingakhiwa kanjani kwekuthi kube netinhlelo letawukhona kutfutfukisa bona bamfu labakhubatekile even lokunye ke lokubaluleke kakhulu asifiso ukuthi leli bandla kufanele liqinisekise ukuthi bamfu labakhubatekile they are able to access health services, they are able to access education and all services at all levels. So mine nawe siyati ukuthi we've been to different communities, sibonile ama struggles ebamfu labakhubatekile. So we are really hoping and praying ukuthi vele le council noma leli bandla litawukhona lokusukuma kwekuthi likhone kusebenta kwa timpilo tebamfu labakhubatekile tibe ngileto letingcono. Kulo nakusukunyiswa ke leli bandla sifiso bekuna tikhulumi letiningi letifaka ekhathi lobuke lihovisi lamhlabuhlangene la Eswatini George Wachira. George Wachira ke uvetile ukuthi ilive laseSwatini lingilamanye emave la eAfrica lane mathulusi langathi ayabonakala ekuthenini timpilo tebamfu labakhubatekile tibe ngileto letingcono lokufaka ekhathi lanka ke ngema policies noma ke imithetho live lelinayo letawenda kwekuthi impilo tebamfu tibe ngiletingcono lokufaka ekhathi constitution umthetho sekelo welive uya articulate clearly ukuthi bamfu labakhubatekile kufanele baphile ngesizotha banakekeleke baphindze bavikeleke. So siphindze futhi sibe na leti sitokhumbula ukuthi sifiso ilive la kaNgwane li sign convention namhlabuhlangene yokuthi bamfu labakhubatekile tindzaba tebamfu labakhubatekile tinakeke iconvention lena ya excuse me ya 2007 September phindze live la khona futhi kuyi rectify. So lokho ke ngilamanye ala mathulusi Wachira lebe kakhuluma ngawo ukuthi vele live la kaNgwane li deposition kahle ekuthenini bamfu labakhubatekile baphile kangcono. Siphinde futhi sibe nanaba bo National Disability Policy kunengi kakhulu and I think kufanele simbongele uhulumende silibongele nelofisi leliphini landvunankulu kwekuthi bakhona kusebenta ngekukhandla kwekuthi impilo tebamfu tibe ngileto letingcono sitawukhumbula ukuthi lilanga lebamfu labakhubatekile laphakanyiswa ngomhlabuhlangene info yinye lo ngakubuka kuwo onke mhlawumbe lama celebrations kwekuthi mhlabuhlangene uthi bamfu labakhubatekile abakhona ukutimela. So lokhu ke nasithi leli bandla litawuqinisekisa ukuthi bakhone ukuthola imfundo kusho ukuthi nase ngikhone ku-acquireisha mhlawumbe ema skills nase ngikhonile kuya e-university ngidawukhona vele ukuthi ngidawukhona ukutimela kube khona lengikufakako emnothweni welive.
Sondo I'm reminded ku cabinet retreat nakayivala umhlonishwa Ndvunankhulu Cleopas Dlamini uya highlight halwe ukuthi tinombolo tebantfu labakhubatekile lapha eveni that will benefit or rather that will be ama beneficiaries grant yabo titawukhula manje le nombolo inkulu kakhulu so just to give you a clear picture ukuthi le nombolo titawukhula kangakanani uthi tebantfu labadzala labatawu benefita ku grant titawukhula nga 1208 yasitfusa leyo nombolo. I remember besibanenge lapha sathi maye inenge le nombolo kuhle kakhulu lokho sathi kuhle kakhulu sakuthabela wathi naka announcer yalaba disabled can you imagine yashutha to 6187 new beneficiaries under le disability grant. Kansi uhulumende njengoba usho ukuthi kufuna simshayele tandla nelhovisi leliphini la Ndvunankhulu but ke kunanayo lenye indzaba la ikhuluma umhlonishwa Cleopas Dlamini ekutheni batawanda i-system yeku-assessa ukuthi what really makes one qualify ukuthi u-disabled. Talk to me about that development.
Well nasingabuka nje sifiso lapha kuleli bandla sihlalo walo nguDokotela Ngcebombuli kule list kunabo professor kunebameli kunema medical practitioners lafaka ekhathi Dokotela Advocate Dlamini ukubekile ngalokusobala ke liphindla Ndvunankhulu kwekuthi leli bandla lokuthi lifake different professionals lendele kwekuthi libuke all areas asengibekise nje what qualifies a person kwekuthi u-disabled. So ngiloko ke bo Dr Advocate Dlamini la ngena khona kakhulu njengoba usho ubala nje tibalo tebamfu labakhubatekile leti tawukhula ekuthenini bakhona ukuthola ema grants
6.1.
I think it is great Isfiso so kutabangilo ke leli bandla leli tawubuka all the areas because siyayati impilo is so unpredictable. Ungaphuma la ngephandle mhlambe sowuthola i-accident sowujubeka linyawo.
Disabled just like that. I'll have to
disabled just like that.
Sengikhaza ukuthi sekufuna ngibe under this grant nami ngibenefit. Ngiyadibuda ke lokho ukuthi uma bathi bona they want to devise le measure le ekutheni bakhone kuhlunga ukuthi lo disabled lona akasiko disabled. Baboneni, have they seen people wanting to benefit from le grant kanti abasiko disabled, so to speak? So
well, I'm not really sure, but lengucabanga ko mine kwekuthi ukhanza ukuthi wena Sifiso kunebamfu labasalela emuva labalitsingako vele lelisito bamfu nyalo kunetifo letifaka ekhathi shukela ukhanza ukuthi you will be required kwekuthi loku ungumcemane nje utisebentela ukhanza ukuthi utawujubeka mhlawumbe tinyawo toting 2 vele you are disabled. So ngicabanga ukuthi leli bandla ngilona li in a better position to say kwekuthi vele ngimaphe ma issues mhlawumbe lebeka khona phambilini lende kwekuthi kukhone lokhu ukuthi kube nendlela le clear kwekuthi umuntu lokhubatekile ngumuntu lokhubateke ngasiphi isigaba. Lokunye ke Sifiso lengakuveta kwekuthi lenye indzaba levelile ukuthi ivetwe ngu-George Wachera, UN Resident Coordinator, kwekuthi kufanele siqinise itindzabeni tebuchwepheshe because i-technology iyakhula.
Bengifuna nje ukubuta ngoba bakuvetile vele nakucala umnyaka ukuthi they want to introduce new and cost-effective systems but tibe IT integrated, tibe tebuchwepheshe. Ngichazele kabanti ke angi-interested kuleyo ngoba kutawuba nemibuto leminengi ukuthi tindzaba te-orientation, I think tindzaba letinkulu kakhulu lento. Nangabe nje i-IT isahlula bantfwana abancane ukuthi singanabo ba-orient, how much more bantu labadzala nalaba-disabled, yabo, they need more supervision.
Oh, okay. Ngicabanga ukuthi lengakuveta Sifiso ukuthi njengoba ngisho nje ukuthi i-technology iya-advance kakhulu njalo ngeminyaka. So loku velile kwekuthi vele kufanele kube netinhlelo noma kube nekubambisana ekuthenini tebuchwepheshe tipafake bamfu labakhubatekile ekuthenini timpilo tabo tibe ngileto letingcono. So lokunye nje le ngingakuveta Sifiso tebuchwepheshe tiyatifaka netindzaba tabo infrastructure. Sitawubona kwekuthi live laseSwatini lende imetamo lebonakala kwekuthenini i-infrastructure ibe accessible to bamfu labakhubatekile. Angibekise nje edolobheni eMbabane nakamanzini kuna this type of traffic lights la khona kokusita bamfu labakhubatekile. Na uhamba nje la etitaladini bamfu labakhubatekile ngabone emehlweni bayakhona kukhona kuhamba kahle ngekukhululeka. Of course there is so much that needs to be done. Kepha-ke siyabona lokho ukuthi cha, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, kuleli bandla nje kuna make Ncamisile Buthelezi ubuya etiko letemsebenzi lemikhulu nekutfutsa. So lama professionals atawukhona vele lokho ukuthi letinkinga tebamfu labakhubatekile tibe ngileto letinciphako noma letiphelayo. Lokunye ke Sifiso lebengithanda ukuveta lenkubonile lokuvelile lapha kuvele tibalo tebamfu labakhubatekile even according to the latest research or survey lenziwe World Bank leveta ukuthi la Eswatini kuna bamfu labang 146,000 plus webamfu labakhubatekile and 80% walabamfu labo baqhamuka noma ba in the rural areas. So nasithi bamfu labakhubatekile kufanele bakhone kuphila ngesizotha bavikeleke bangasaleli emuva. So we are just hoping ukuthi leli bandla litawukhona kuvumbulula some of the people labakhona lemakhaya because liqiniso lithi kuke kwaba ne workshop ye timphunga leto letibuke kusebenta kwelitiko laka DPM lapho khona kwavela ukuthi kusenebatali lababafihlako bamfana babo Sifiso. Of which lo mfana uyamdinaya an opportunity to go to school. I-freedom yakhe nje as a person. So we are just hoping ukuthi lama issues vele atawuncipha kakhulu. And kule nombolo le 146,000 Sifiso bathi 51% walabamfu labo bede ma qualification qualifications. So uyabona ke lokho ukuthi vele siyadinga lokho ukuthi leli bandla liyadinga lokho ukuthi lisebenze ngekukhandla kakhulu because nangabe 51% walesive side lesingadiphilisa ngakho uyabona nje ukuthi vele ngeke size sikhone lokuyifeza lemigomo yentuthuko yakamhlaba le khonsako imhlabuhlangene lasibekele yona.
Yeah. So now uthi 146,000 and I know it's just above that kancane. Buki population yala kangwane. Giyastressa kakhulu njalo ukuthi ke bakuma rural areas. I'm actually reminded umchashi nakasasibeke etifundzeni sisa I was correspondent eshiselweni. Bengibabona kakhulu laba disabled le maphandleni and you know bekuba bhlungu kakhulu kodwa nje siyabonga lo ukuthi uhulumende yabona uyawafaka lama provisions and the interventions ekutheni abahlangabethe. I'm actually reminded sibene World Book and Copyright Day. Was it this week or last week?
I think it was last week.
Last week, yeah. It's not phela nje liviki. Base library baveta lo ukuthi nanabo sebana ama provisions for abantu laba disabled, and it was also beautiful lo ukuthi lo suku bal celebrate la esikolweni sebantu laba deaf laba disabled le elibonjeni lobo correspondent khona Sondo. I think kuvele kumshayela tandla uhulumende olivela kangwane nama interventions lawo ndawo Sondo.
Lengingakusho nje sifisa ukuthi njengoba soyivetile president wakaFotswa Bongani Makama itolo he was actually giving his speech afunza ngebraille.
Wow.
And for me it was really great, and le event beyila ekwethembeni eMbabane at the special school. So uyabona nje ukuthi lithemba likhona la eMbabane library ukhona lo mshini weku translator to braille live la seSwatini selinawo lo mshini. So ngiyakhumbula nje ukuthi ngeCovid iliphinda mvunankulu beligijima ukuthi lama pamphlets lane information ukuthi how do you protect yourself bebagijima ukuthi bazame kuwa translator to braille. So there's umthethosisekelo welive ukhona lo bhalwe ngebraille. The Disability Act iSODV ibhaliwe ngebraille. So uyabona nje ukuthi there are just so many things to that we can celebrate. So inclusion, and then Sfiso siyakhumbula ukuthi His Majesty when giving speech from the throne washo ukuthi 2023 it's a big year. So indeed ngiva ngazuthi vele so far we are just celebrate atimvuleti inkulu and siyati ukuthi alikhethe for Sfiso DPM akakakushiwe ukuthi batawuzama ukuthi vele bathembe ukuthi libandla lilikhethe nemincane litabafaka abamfu labakhubatekile ekuthenini kube lula kufola lisito kube lula ukuthi nabo babe part of ema elections
abalama MP nanaba aba representatives. Sonto Mlangeni, thank you so much for joining us lo mhla ekuseni kusipha. There was a comprehensive ngicabanga ukuthi nje kugcwele kude nami lekungakungeda kulokho siphe kona kuvakele konke. Siyabonga kakhulu Sonto. Sonto Mlangeni, our in-house journalist, usipha nje i-review ne-reaction yakhe elibandleni ke leli announce eliphinda mvunankulu uThemba Masuke la ngeni la itolo libandla leli litawubuka abantu labakhubatekile lapha eveni National Advisory Council for Disabled Persons. And just to quote umhlonishwa mvunankulu Cleopas Dlamini nakavala i-cabinet retreat ukushilo lokuthi lento leti titawendeka uthi in the coming year government will continue to take care of the needs of people living with disability and vulnerable groups in society. We are not talking about increase abantu labatawuzuza kusikhwama se-disability grant leti shooter to 6,000.1 in terms of tinombolo leti nyukako lokuyinombolo lenkulu kakhulu kodwa nje njengoba sesishilo na Sonto Mlangeni ukuthi hulumende uyaqhubeka nokwenda lawo provisions and interventions kubasihlangabethe abantu labakhubatekile. It is 56 minutes after 7, which is 4 minutes right before kubumbana insimbi yesiphohlongo sesifika emaphethelweni ehlelo lalo muhla. Sale kahle.
Style is about attitude, values, interests, and behaviors. And this is Eswatini Lifestyle, the show that shares stories of incredible people, events, businesses, and taste that are meant to inspire Emaswati.
Eswatini Lifestyle is Eswatini's premium lifestyle magazine show. We
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds, full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom